I am definitely in the mood for something to eat, and Melanie said, I don't know whether I want to cook chicken or turkey or duck. So what did you come up with?
Well, when we found out you were doing a show for the birds, Charlie, we decided to really put you over the edge and go to the birds.
People generally figure out over the edge anyway.
Chris, my good friend here for 25
This is Chris
years.
Kuhn.
Chris Kuhn.
That's right, from O.W. Houts, and you're a professional butcher, huh?
I am a excellent butcher.
Ah.
I've been doing this for about 25 years now.
And this is Melanie Prosciutti, and she is the one who has helped us so much with all of the cookbook and everything, making all the modifications and everything. It's wonderful now. So let's get started. So why do you put the three together?
We decided the easiest way to start this segment is to show you what it looks like first.
Okay.
And what we have is a boned chicken wrapped in a boned duck, wrapped in a boned turkey, which means aside from the legs and the wings, there's really no skeletal structure to this bird. It's boneless, and when you take it out of the oven, it looks exactly like a turkey, and you just slice it down the middle and take off the meat, and you can plan on it serving about twice as many people as a regular turkey. Is that about?
Yeah, that's
about
Because it's solid, right?
Right,
It's
right.
solid
It's all
straight
meat.
through. Straight through. So Charlie, if you'll take this back, we've
Okay.
got to start right away. We have a lot
Alrighty.
to do here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now Chris has boned our bird.
Okay.
Now Chris, tell them
This one doesn't cross the street at all.
No, this one doesn't
This
move
one's
at
not
all.
gonna cross
We're
the
going to
street.
wing this one.
Is it?
We have, you're making us laugh. We have
whole object.
simplified this recipe for the home kitchen.
Okay.
But
Right.
we have one suggestion.
Right.
Get your
Butcher to do this
to do
for
this.
you.
Okay.
This is going to require something that's going to take quite a bit of skill as far as taking the skeletal structure out of this.
And not ripping up the...
Right. The key to this is you do not want to rip it up too much.
And you do it while it's raw.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
It's more flexible at that
Yes.
point. Okay.
Right, and the other thing is we've simplified it by instead of using an entire boned chicken and an
Okay.
entire boned duck,
Right.
because
Right, because of there's a lot of waste on a duck, so essentially the only meat you're getting out of it's the breast meat. So what we did is we simplified it by just using a boneless duck breast and a
Pounded it.
boneless chicken breast.
and they're pounded, and you get the best meat from all of the
Right.
birds.
Most of the ducks are quacks anyway, so that's not a problem.
Well, we're going to start now by Chris is going to start stuffing, and I'll talk about stuffing while
Right, and don't
while-
be afraid to get your hands in there because you're going to have to.
Okay.
Well, you're going to have
Well,
to.
yes.
That's why he's here.
This is
I
why.
don't have to. He does.
Because what you want to do is you want to push some of that filling up in that cavity up front like you would a regular turkey.
Okay.
The biggest mistake you can make is
Overstuffing.
overstuffing. We thought it was a man thing, that men wanted to overstuff, but trust me, I
Right.
did this myself and I wanted to do
Right.
this.
So
When
what
I
you're
sit
gonna
down to a
wanna
meal,
do-
I usually overstuff anyway.
Now
What
you're
you-
going to want to put about a ½ inch layer in here.
Okay.
And what you want to do, and
That's
the nice part about this is you make your stuffing a day ahead. Your stuffing has to be fully cooked and very moist.
And cold?
Yes.
And at room temperature.
okay.
You don't want to put anything warm against chicken, and you're dealing with solid meat, so you have to keep in mind this isn't going to expand.
Okay.
Ready
we've
for the
put,
next layer?
We've put the...
We've already put
Put
the
the
duck
duck
in.
in.
Put the duck
Now,
in there, okay.
Another layer of stuffing.
You've ducked the duck.
We've
We've
ducked
ducked
the
it.
duck.
Okay. Now you wanted me to
Yes,
you
if
gave me
you'll
the
heat-
major responsibility of this gravy.
Heat the gravy.
I have
and
the gravy
melt
job.
the butter.
Okay.
Very good, Charlie. And Chris, you just keep your hands in that part.
I'm just going.
How much more?
I'd put probably another spoon
Another
in
spoon
there.
in there? We think you need about typically 6 to 8 cups is pretty much how much stuffing you'll need.
Okay.
Now, so what we're going to do is we're going to lay this breast in here, and when you put this in here, you want to kind of pat it around and put like a little V in it, because you're going to put the stuffing now down the middle, because when you're pulling that turkey together, it's going to create that circle
That's a
for you.
good size
Right.
breast there.
Right, and you want to start with about a 16 to 18 pound turkey,
Okay.
which is a good sized turkey.
How much more would you like in there, my dear?
Oh, a little bit more.
Okay.
Okay, that's probably about it. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to sew this up.
But before we do, thank you, Charlie.
Okay.
the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about our stretcher here.
Okay.
Now, Chris and I developed this.
It is wounded, so I guess
Yes,
it
it's wounded. We made a stretcher of cheesecloth for this. Because if you invest in one kitchen utensil, buy yourself a V-rack for roasting. This really is going to help us a lot with the stitching process. We're just going to put this up on here.
Okay.
We're going to that's like the paramedics would do.
So it helps push it together a little bit.
Helps push it together, gives us something to work with. And now, most of the recipes will call for, you go to craft store, you buy yourself one of these big needles. Kitchen twine, you always have to use kitchen safe twine.
Okay.
But
so it doesn't
Chris,
split
of
up
course, has this.
Apparently he's
Chris came to my house and said, "Oh, I have a skewer." I said, "Chris, I think that's a harpoon."
Yes,
It hardly
that
looks
is industrial strength there. This is something to leave a mark. Now keep in mind when you sew this together, since there's no skeletal structure before, you got to keep the stitches down into the meat a little bit, because when you pull it tight,
otherwise
you're
it
going to
just stretch that.
Right, you're going to rip it out. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold it down about 1 inch and just push it through there.
Oh my goodness, I can't get that through. I did tweak the ends. Okay, there we go. Where's my shears?
So what we're going to do is we're just going to tie a few little simple knots in here. Wait, let me tell you. We're probably going to need about four of these down through there.
See, only public television would bring you a sewing show with food all in one.
Charlie, I have to tell you, my mother was so excited that I was going to be on TV, and she said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, we're going to do turducken. Have you ever heard of it?" She said, "Well, I watched Emerald do it." Are you crazy?
And believe it or not, that's what inspired it. We've heard a lot of requests for this.
He has had a lot over this past year at OW House, people calling in, and we decided to come up with a sweet potato, apple, chestnut, and raisin stuffing, which you're only going to get that recipe from me if you buy this book.
That's right.
If you buy them, usually the stuffing consists of either Cajun sausage or cornbread and sausage. And Chris made one with that, and what'd you think?
I thought it was a little overpowering. The sausage was just too much for it, and you really couldn't make a difference in the taste of it.
So the subtle flavors of this meat were overshadowed by that.
This really complements the delicate flavors of the birds really, really
I'd say that's probably about enough
That's
right there.
enough?
Okay.
So now this is where the stretcher really comes in handy, because we're going to take this back off the V-rack.
Okay.
Thanks. And this is going to help us considerably to just roll him over onto his right side.
Okay.
Now, Charlie, do you have that butter ready? Chris, you want to help
Isn't
get
quite
him
ready yet.
onto the V-rack?
Oh, there we go. It is.
So now you're ready to go into the roasting pan,
There you are.
and we're just going to quickly paint this
And it
with
still looks like a turkey, doesn't it?
Yes, it
and
does.
it looks just like a turkey. We paint it with some butter. I'm going to need that aluminum foil there, Charlie.
Okay.
Now, one of the tricks that I did learn at the Food Network is to keep a turkey really, really moist. The first thing you do is you make a little form for the breast. You preheat your oven to about 500 degrees. You take this form off so that it's preformed. Chris laughs when I do.
It looks like a shield to me. Who ever heard of doing that?
So this is ready to go.
Okay, and then you take it off because you want this to brown first, and then you want to protect it
You're
later.
at 500 degrees. You want to put some salt and pepper on this. Lots of salt.
And what kind of salt is this?
Well, I like to use sea salt, and the other thing I like to use, I'd like to see everybody in America today throw all your black peppercorns away and buy a peppercorn blend with
it makes such a huge
red
difference.
peppers and white peppers and cherry peppers. The flavor is just so exciting. It's wonderful. So this goes in for 15 or 20 minutes.
Okay.
It browns. You lower the oven temperature to 350. You put this on. You bake it for 3.5 to 4.5 hours, relying on temperature, not time, folks. And when it comes out, it looks like
A turkey.
a turkey.
Voila.
And then we have the other product. And we have tasting, and you're
Yes,
boiling my gravy, Charlie.
There.
Okay. Now, we're just going to, where would you like this?
Oh, anywhere will be fine.
Anywhere will be fine.
So now, do you do
We're
the gravy
just-
in a particular?
Well, I was just going to drizzle a little bit of this. This is my giblet gravy made from
Giblets.
O.W. Houtz's turkey giblets.
Yes, it is.
And you can taste the stuffing. You can give this all a little. If you want more gravy, if you're a real gravy person, you go right on
It's
there.
delicious.
Okay. Give this a try.
How is it?
Good. I'll have a little bit of the
The duck.
multiple taste together. That's a wonderful combination, and the stuffing really adds to it. That's wonderful. This is something that I always thought was like so complicated.
So out there.
But-
well,
but-
it is. I wouldn't recommend this for like one of my
What are we having for
daughter-in-laws
dinner
right
tonight?
now. I wouldn't
Right.
recommend this for a new cook, but if you have a husband or a wife team, the only thing we totally agree on, and it's really the only thing Chris and I totally agree on, is you need 2 people to do this.
Right.
Yeah.
You really, I did one once by myself, and it
It's a
looked-
lot of work. It looks like it's overwhelming, but actually it's not that bad. But 2 sets of hands are perfect.
That's right. And you both have to actually agree on
Yeah,
what you're
if
doing.
you
Right.
have a partner in the kitchen that you really enjoy spending, make the gravy. This is really, it's a good project, and it feeds a lot of people.
Oh yeah, and because it's completely solid, it doesn't have all that empty space in there.
Right.
No.
Okay.
No, so-
Well, this is just one of the many, many recipes that is in the new cookbook. So we know that you're going to want to get it, and here's how. Thanks a lot.